We're celebrating a very special event for our beloved Rabbi Leonard Helman, his second Bar Mitzvah, celebrated as he reaches the age of 83. Why a second Bar Mitzvah? The tradition teaches us that if a person achieves the age of 83, which is 70 years following the original Bar Mitzvah ceremony, he or she can celebrate once again an affirmation before the Jewish community of his leadership and presence in our community. 70 in our tradition is a magical, both biblical number. It is a number that represents wholeness, completeness, and peace. So we are celebrating this very special moment with our rabbi in honor of his completeness of life and his great leadership in our community and the special relationship that Rabbi Hellman and Beit Tikva have had these years since we began our congregation.
Welcome everyone to this beautiful sanctuary and to our congregation for a very special Shabbat morning, our traditional prayers and the celebration with Rabbi Hellman in honor of the 70th anniversary of his becoming a Bar Mitzvah. It's a great day. We're so happy and delighted that so many good folks from all over the community and across the nation have come in to help celebrate with our rabbi. We're beginning with the opening song, which is Hine Ma Tov, how good it is for all of us to dwell together in unity. Hine Ma Tov, Manayim, Shevachim Gam Yachad, Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov, La 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 La, Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov, La La
Nafshi et Adonai, Adonai Elohai gadalta ma'od. Od v'hadar levashta ute or kasalma, note shemayim kairiya.
Praise the Eternal One, O my soul. O God, you are very great. Arrayed in glory and majesty, you wrap yourself in light as with a garment, and stretch out the heavens like a curtain.
I would like to say a few words before we start. This is Rabbi Martin Levy. It's nice to see all you people here. Hope you have a good time. I'm a little nervous, but what the hell.
For our Rabbi Hellman to, in a sense, observe the 70th anniversary when he was, way back when, a young man in a proper modern Orthodox hat in his shul, and is now recreating that experience, that spiritual experience of becoming Bar Mitzvah, which means he is standing under the yoke for the last 70 years of the commandments of God. He said it's a heavy yoke. And we're delighted that he's strong and feeling wonderful this morning to, in a sense, recreate that experience, but more importantly, to show all of us the essential power and importance of these words of Torah. Our first aliyah for this Sabbath morning will be recited by Michael and Rita Linder.
Baruch et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher chavanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
And God spoke to Moses, they were saying, Taver al bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem, Tem Harim Hayardain Artsa Kinan Tem Lahem Arim Arei Mikvat Arim Titnu Me'eber Hayardain Be'et Shalosh Arim Titnu Be'eretz Kinan Arei Mikvat Tigyana Yinei Yisrael Viladir Et Hashu B'Taham.
Why the 70th anniversary? Many people have asked, why the 70th? 7, as you all know, is a special, mystical, magical number from Torah. 7 days of creation, the sense of completion, the sense of the ideal of the Shabbat on the 7th day, the sense of wholeness and integration that comes with the number 7. It has always been a magical number in the Jewish faith. And so multiples of 7 are thus very important to us. May you prosper, may you go forth in the path of righteousness, of emet, truth, vanvehu, with humility and compassion. And those were the words given to Rabbi Hellman more than 55 years ago when he became a rabbi.
May God bless you, Rabbi, and keep you. May God shine His countenance upon you and be gracious unto you. May God be gracious to you and grant you peace.
I wish to thank you for giving me a second bar mitzvah. I started my training by doing what all parents of every Jewish boy does. I bought a new suit. Shirley Becker gave me the prime bar mitzvah gift over which every child wants, a pencil set. I remember vividly my bar mitzvah and I wanted to talk about it. My mother and sister and I lived in a second-story apartment. We were poor. My father had died earlier of technically of heart failure, but of depression and of economic failure. My mother was an incredible woman. She sewed at a mattress factory. She learned shorthand. She got a job at the state of Connecticut, the Workmen's Compensation Commission. When I was 12, a Hebrew teacher had a small school and synagogue near our apartment for training boys for Bar Mitzvah. I went to the Talmud Torah faithfully. My Bar Mitzvah, I conducted the service, read the Haftorah, and declared Bar Mitzvah. I do not recall my mother or sister being at the service. There were no certificates. I went home and had lunch with 5 people, and that was it. Contrast that with today's Bar Mitzvah. The setting of the day 2 years in advance, the invitation, the caterer, the cantor, the rehearsal, the writing of the speech, loud and slow, then loud and slow. The president's talk, the announcement, the gifts, the cruiser trip to Africa. The super dinner, the dancing. Young people remember this. The effort is worthwhile because kids remember their bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, and it's important for them. What other rabbi in the whole world, the whole bloody world, has a reserved seat, Christmas Eve, front row cathedral. The front row, I mean, the front row. Sometimes I'm the only person sitting in the front row. And the Archbishop mentions only one person by name in the whole dialogue, me. Rabbi Hellman is here, that's it. I want everybody whom I've married stand up. be happy and honored to be remembered by having my name on the Bridge Center and the walls of Beit Tikva. I remember your good deeds enshrined in the hearts of all of you. May God continue to bless me with life and the end to serve. May God bless us all with strength and health and purpose to fulfill God's vision of peace and justice on earth. To love each other and to enjoy each precious day of our lives. And these few precious days I'll spend with you. These precious days I'll spend with you. Stand up and hug each other.
Young boy becoming a man and looking down the road of life and trying to figure where it would take you. No matter how much promise anyone has at that age, there's nobody who can know where that road is going to take you. And you certainly couldn't have known. But we have the privilege here today of coming back 70 years later and seeing where the road has taken you. And what an extraordinary road it's been. I read that about 6 years ago, Santa Fe awarded you the title of one of Santa Fe's living treasures. And I think that was an appropriate title for a lot of reasons. They also nicknamed you the Rabbi Different. Surely you've all heard that, haven't you? Because it's true. Not only the Rabbi Different, but the human being different. Because you have never let any role in life, any job, any assignment to define you or limit you as to who you are and what you could do. And it's marked your entire life. You have been a rabbi, but you've reached your hand out to people of other faiths and other walks of life, your hand of friendship and guidance and help. You have been a career lawyer working for the people of the state of New Mexico, a dedicated public servant, but you didn't let that define all that you were. A teacher, a humanitarian, and somehow found time to work in being a life master in bridge. In fact, I think that there was something I read once that said you won a tournament in Poland. I don't know how that came about. And I've been told to keep my remarks down to less than 8 minutes by 3 people already, so I won't go any further into that because there are probably a few more important things. But I suspect your prowess at bridge was one of the reasons that the Leonard Helman Bridge Center was named after you. Well, maybe it was that $50,000 contribution, too. Your president, Paul Grace, said something once that I think is significant, and probably everyone in the room knows, that you treat busboys the same as you do as governors. And I'm here to share with all of you here that he treats Supreme Court justices the same as he does busboys. And I love it. I got to know Rabbi Hellman when, may you always do so. I first started my special relationship with Rabbi Hellman after I came onto the court just 2.5 years ago. And after my first authored opinion was filed and published, and it was one that I'd slaved over and put blood, sweat, and tears into and was so proud of, I come back from an oral argument, take on my robe as I go into chambers, and my paralegal said, I got the strangest phone call. There was a man who said his name was, I think it was Rabbi Hellman, and he said he wanted you to call him back because he had something to tell you about that opinion you just wrote. Usually we get our critiques in law review articles and law professors analyze the opinions, and I hadn't ever had anybody call me up to give me an earful about an opinion. But I was intrigued, so I called you back, and it was the beginning of a special relationship. He told me what he thought about the opinion. I think you actually liked that one, but it's never stopped you from giving me your frank views on whatever I wrote. He would call from time to time and tell me what he thought about the opinion that I'd written or any of my colleagues had written. I started to worry a little bit when I became Chief Justice, and he called and said he wanted to give the court a blessing. And I wasn't sure what he meant by that. I didn't know whether it was a celebration or a precaution. But some months ago, he ended one of our very brief conversations. He is not a man to waste words. With this, he said, "I love you." And that meant so much to me. Coming from you, a man of love, a man who has a heart as big as your mind. And the other thing he said that I'm taking to heart here today is that on one opinion not too long ago, he called, I got on the phone, he said, "That last opinion?" "Yes, Rabbi." "Too long." Click. So I'm going to take that hint and the hint from the other three people and close with just one thought. And it goes back to something you said a few years ago. You said in a public statement, "I've often thought about arranging my own funeral so I can enjoy it." And you know, by the end of the day today, I can't think of anything you would accomplish at that more than will take place today, where people who have known you, experienced your special character, can tell you what they think of you. And I think I speak for all of them. We love you.
A few years back, I got a speeding ticket. And Leonard learned about it. And he says, "I want to go to court with you." He went to court with me. He didn't utter one word. The judge looked at him and said, "Case dismissed." You've been a valued friend, a valued teacher, and you have set an example that's worthy for all of us to follow. And I thank you for allowing me to come here and say that today.
Nephew, Stephen Abramson, please join us.
Thank you, Rabbi. It's an honor to be here. I live in San Francisco. Unfortunately, my mother, Leonard's sister, is in New York and was unable to be here. So on behalf of my mother, my two brothers and sister, and a few great nieces and great nephews of Leonard's, just want to thank you all. Although we're blood family to Leonard, it's really, however long you've been here, his family is really here. And for that, his blood family is very, very thankful. I just want to say, as I was sitting here, I was looking at that picture, and I'm going, God, you know, it reminds me of something. And honestly brought tears to my eyes when Leonard said it was the house that he and my mother grew up in, because I remember those stories vividly, and they were so poor they really didn't have money for heat. The Bermans, who I believe owned the building, really let your rent slide and paid for the coal. So to have come from such a tough, really a tough childhood, and my grandmother really was such a strong woman, and there probably are a few more stories about her learning shorthand. It wasn't as easy as Leonard suggested, and I remember testing her on that. But she persevered, and I think that's really what gave sort of the inner strength to my uncle, and also my mother, and quite frankly to her grandchildren to persevere. I had the privilege of being here for the opening of the Bridge Center a year and a half ago, and I just want to thank my uncle for not at that time asking me to play bridge, and for today not asking me to read from the Torah, because it's been a few years. Actually, 2 weeks ago was my 40th anniversary of my my bar mitzvah, and I remember back to that, and my older brother, who's 2 years older than me, actually Leonard was able to participate in my brother's bar mitzvah service, and I remember feeling gypped that he wasn't. At that point, I can't remember if you were in McKeesport or Wheeling, one of the two cities, and obviously he had congregational duties to attend. And so for me, being here on your 70th anniversary is sort of like a completion factor, and because you weren't at mine, you know, it's just a special privilege to be here and celebrate on behalf of you know, my mother and my brothers and sisters the anniversary, the 70th anniversary of your bar mitzvah. So thank you very much, and really thank you all for being his family, really.
Leonard, it is a great privilege for me to be standing here. 5 years ago, Leonard called me up on the phone. I'd been on the board about 1.5 years, and he said he wanted to take me to lunch. My first thought was, uh-oh. When I got to his door, he said, no argument about this, I want you to be the next president. After some thought, I said, that's fine. Past presidents have served 1 year, 2 years, so now as I'm completing my 5th and final year as president, I know who I have to thank for that. And while there have been headaches and there have been heartaches, there's also been a lot of fun, and it's been a real privilege. And one of the privileges that I had in this role is to have regular lunch with Leonard and to visit with him and take a minute, just look around this room. I mean, we've got a packed house today, and there are people here of differing opinions on all kinds of things, but one thing that I've found is that Leonard is a great uniter and a great peacemaker. Sometimes he even tries to make peace where there isn't any friction, but he's just trying to bring us all together. And, you know, Leonard is a very private person in many ways. So for someone who is so well known publicly, I got to learn that about him. And I was surprised the first time it happened, but he truly gets embarrassed when people show him all of this affection. And Leonard, that's not something that just happens. That kind of love and affection is earned. And it's the way you've lived your life and the way you've treated all of us and those who couldn't be here that brings you that love and affection. So we really are grateful to have you in our lives. You're truly one of the kindest souls I've ever known. One thing you said in your bar mitzvah speech was that when you did this the first time, you didn't get a certificate. That's really the only reason why we did that this year. We wanted to correct the oversight. Leonard, at long last, you have an official bar mitzvah certificate. And so congratulations on that. As you're leaving the temple today, there are tribute books that we put together for Leonard. They contain not only some ads from people who love him and wanted to contribute to the cost of putting this beautiful book together, but there are also many stories about Leonard. His speech is in here. There's some wonderful photographs in here. So please take one with you as you're leaving today. Thank you for all being here to celebrate this day with us for our very special Rabbi Different Leonard Helman.